Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Trista and I've been determined to spend more time in the natural world, be more mindful, and heal our connection with Mama Earth. On this particular Monday morning, I felt the need to get out of my regular routine and head to the mountains. So if you like all things adventure and nature, I'd encourage you to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on any other videos. Good morning guys. First off, I want to say excuse the bad lighting. I'm currently in the forest, so there's no sun or any lighting besides what comes through the top of the trees. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. It is currently Monday morning and I didn't want to have the basic routine of getting up and kind of just waiting to go to work. So I decided to go take a nice hike in one of my favorite places, one of my favorite mountains. It has a very symbolic meaning to me, which I might explain later. And yeah, so I booked that this morning, that hike. I basically booked it at 9 a.m. and I had to be there by 9:59 because there's like time slots because of COVID. And so I left like almost right away, and there ended up being a whole highway blocked, which I wish I could have like told you guys as I was driving, but as you guys know, I like to be a safe driver and not film while I'm driving. So I ended up making it at exactly, I think it was 9:57, so 2 minutes before my ticket was no longer valid. So I'm really happy for that. It took me like 45 minutes to get here, but worth it. And so yeah, today I'm going to be hiking, and I also really I've been really wanting to talk about a few different things, manifestation, intuition. So I think today, although it's a hike, I'm going to also be doing a bit of a chit chat with you guys because I really just been wanting to sit down and talk about what's going on in my mind. So that's all. Let's go on the hike. There are so many people here, which is making it very hard to film anything.
Look outside, painted skies, here comes the light, it's in your eyes.
Okay, so I reached the first summit. The real summit is actually that way, but there's usually a lot of people there, so right now here there's no one, so I'm going to stay hoping nobody comes. That was a really nice hike. I actually took the wrong way up. I wanted to do two summits. I wanted to do one called Burned Hill and one called Pain de Sucre, because they kind of meet. After Burned Hill, it meets up to the Pain de Sucre summit. So I wanted to do both, but I missed the Burned Hill one. So now we're here. Okay, so what I want to talk about. So recently I listened to a podcast by Mark Groves, who I really, really admire. You should definitely check out his podcast. I'll leave it in the link, in the links in the description. And he was talking about waiting to arrive and the transition period between when you decide that you want something and when you get it, and how important that transition time is, and how the entire universe needs to kind of catch up to your ideas or to your new realization of what you want your life to be or what you want your life to look like. So when I heard that, it just made so much sense to me, because I often have these ideas that I want to turn into realities. Mostly things around YouTube or around owning land and building my tiny off-grid house. Those are two of my biggest dreams. But then once I start to work towards them, unless it starts happening really quickly, I give up very fast, and then I switch things up. And if you're familiar with human design, I used to make human design videos. They're not on my channel anymore, but I'm a generator with sacral authority, and basically I'm meant to respond to things. So responding to the idea of the tiny house, to me that's a hell yes. It feels like expansion, which I'm also going to talk about after. So then it feels like a hell yes to me, and then I start to work on it. But there's always a plateau or a stagnating period, and then you're meant to respond to another thing, and then it's kind of a stepping, a bunch of steps to your goal. But me, whenever I reach a plateau, I kind of give up and I don't push through to the next thing that I have to respond to. And that's why my manifestations don't always happen, because I constantly change my mind. I'm like, oh, well, it's not working fast enough, so now I'll do this instead, I'll do that instead, I'll do this. And I'm not very persistent with my goals. So recently, like I said, I just realized that it's really important that once I respond to something, like I responded to YouTube, I said, yes, I want that. Like I'm responding to my, to the idea of a tiny house and being on land. That's a yes for me. Once I respond to those things, I need to actually wait until the next opportunity comes, and then I get to respond to that, whether it's a yes or a no. I think it's really important to set your goal, like express what you want. That's part of the manifestation circuit in your chakras. I'm really into spirituality, in case you guys didn't know. And then to wait until the opportunities can come. And so from there, I wanted to talk about the importance of knowing the difference between a yes and a no in your body, what it feels like. And so for me, that's something I really have a hard time with, because I always doubt myself, I doubt my decisions, I doubt if they're good decisions. And that's something I'm working on, because I'm realizing, as a person with sacral authority in human design, that I have an inner knowing of what's good for me and what's not good for me at all times. I don't need to think about it. I always know. It's always intuitively. And I need to just learn how to read my intuition and how to feel my intuition more, and then trust it. And so learning what my yes feels like, which for me it feels like expansion, it feels like excitement, and then learning what my no feels like, which is more shrinking and resistance. Like I don't really want to do that, which is pretty obvious, but in my body it feels like shrinking and resistance. And then so being able to identify those and then accept it for what it is, and just go with it and have faith that that's what's going to bring you to where you want to go. And so yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about. Like your intuition is so important, knowing the difference between your yes and your no, what that feels like in your body. And then also just manifestation, it takes time. The universe is not going to respond to you in 5 seconds. So you need to, one, be patient and be persistent with your goal. Don't have it wavering and changing every 5 minutes. Of course, if you don't know what direction you want, that's okay. Try different things. But if you intuitively know what you want, like I know I want to do YouTube, I know I want to have my off-grid home, I know I want to be self-employed, I know all those things. I have so many dreams and ideas for what this could turn into, this community. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. That's what I came here to express. And of course, being in the mountains helps me just, and in nature helps me just like speak it so much effortlessly, so much more effortlessly. And yeah, so thank you for joining me on my adventure today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And thank you for all your support recently. I feel like I've gotten a lot more people viewing my things and being more interested, and I love that. I love talking to all of you guys. So actually, let me know in the comments if you're watching. Just say, hey, I made it this far in the video and I wanted to say hi, introduce yourself. I would love to get to know you guys. So yeah, I'm going to go to the other side. I'm holding a stick to the other side of the mountain now, like right there, and have my lunch. So yeah, I hope you guys liked my thoughts for today.
Sunlight through the window shade, the shadows dance across your face.
This mountain is very symbolic to me, because in my teen years I had experienced a lot of traumatic events in a very short amount of time, and as a result I was very depressed, and I had, at 16 years old, attempted suicide. And after that attempt, I had been put into a 2-month program at a hospital. Basically, it was called the day program, where during the day I would go to the hospital and I would do a ton of therapy, like group therapy, psychiatrist, social worker, psychologist, like just a bunch of group therapy. Well, not group therapy, just a bunch of therapy. And then at night I would go home and sleep, and then I go back the next morning. And 1 month in, it was a Friday, we went hiking here at this mountain, and it was like a turning point in my life. It was the first moment where I felt like I was ready to heal, and like I wanted to heal, and yeah, I don't know. So it was just a very big turning point in my life, and I felt very empowered climbing this mountain or hiking this mountain. And I remember listening to the song Anything by Headley and running up to the top. And I'm going to continue the story in a second because there's people coming. So yeah, that was the first time that I realized how healing nature could be and that I wanted to heal. And from there, I actually quit the day program at the hospital and my healing journey began. And so anytime that I come here, I like to just think back on all of the progress I've made in the last 8 years. And yeah, it's just a really symbolic place for me for healing. And yeah, it's not to say that healing is linear or that healing just happens in one instant. It's obviously something that I worked on for many years, but I do think that nature can be, a first step in the healing process. And that's why I come back here all the time, and why I always come back to nature and to adventuring and all that stuff. So there's a little background story about this gal. Yeah. Well, that was fun, and this is your reminder to get into nature, go outside, and yeah, enjoy life. And don't stress about your future, because if you're in your 20s like me, you're gonna be okay. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Bye.
Maybe the dark clouds want us to figure out that we don't need a thing but this right.